city always put us on us. Then that's it, man.
Y'all ready? Board of County Commissioners now in session. We'll have the prayer followed with the pledge. Heavenly Father, we just asked this morning to touch the Board of County Commissioners and touch Smokey Parrish. He's going to have his leg checked, and all the seafood workers, Lord. The summer bar be good. We ask this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the payment of the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The minutes.
So move.
Have a motion, and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Department head reports. Mr. Tommy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As far as I know, everything is under control. The work's being turned out. Due to circumstances, Howard couldn't be here this morning, but he sends his regrets, but everything's good. And I don't really have anything to report to the board. He didn't give me any instructions on anything that was real necessary at the moment.
Anybody have anything for Tommy? All right, thank you, Tommy.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good day.
Mr. Fonda Davis, solid waste.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Couple items I had on the agenda here in the report. First one has been taken care of, the recovered material. Chairman already signed off on it. The next thing is the employee hire. I'd like to please let you know that Scott Kelly has filled the entry-level position. And that's about all I have for my report.
Anybody have anything for Fonda?
Do we need a motion?
No, before that, the department heads have to make the hire vacancies that are created.
No, I mean on the FDET application, did you need a motion for the board approving that signature?
I guess yes, ma'am. I mean,
So
it's
moved.
something we normally do, but
That's approving the signature of the chairman's signature and also the payment of $50.
Yeah, $50.
okay.
Have a motion, second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I got several calls that we were spoken about the fly balls out at the park in East Point.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk about that a little bit? What's been done?
Yes, the fly balls, one time the Aldi ball fields had what they call a lean-to. That's the top of the backstop that leads into the post to catch the fly balls. But storm come through and tore them all up, so they did not replace. But since all the calls was coming in, we did have emergency fence come in and replace that one field. My understanding that we still are getting the foul balls. And what some of the coaches was recommending that we net the entire field to try to stop the balls. Because we do have the big field adjacent to the small field, and the balls are popping over. But even with the lean-to, it's not stopping the foul balls. And I think the main problem is that the area is so congested that even with the netting on the sides that run down the first base or third base line, foul ball line, we still gonna get the pop over balls. So only thing I can suggest is that we try to find somewhere that's a larger space to spread the field out more. Like I say, the area being so congested right now, and then when you try to go in and net even the top of the fields, it's going to cost so much that we'll be better off buying, trying to find some more land.
Wasn't there some right behind that for sale, right across the Tie Pond? Right there, they had behind it?
Behind it is a wetland area.
It's a little wetland area, but right behind it, it's an open field where Pine Collins, I think, or right comes up there.
Well, I don't have here, you have the industrial area there where that road came in with those 5 and 10 acre tracts, and, shade tree towing had a place back in there, you had some other people had, some industrial zoning back in there. But I mean, it's a pretty deep wetland that's right behind, and then off the other side, you have residential 1 unit per acre lots, you have, that subdivision coming in there, you got the wetland area right behind, over here you got the Junior Millers Trucking. I mean, there's not a,
Okay, I thought it was some back behind it.
yeah.
The Junior, ain't he gonna sell that property?
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's for sale now, yeah. But the problem is the price is warrants, or the price he's asking for is if you're gonna use the building he has on there. I mean, he's wanting, I don't know how much, but it's including the value of the building, which has no value to us.
Right.
Would it be worthwhile, seeing if we can identify a place to expand it, or?
Well, I mean, this is the challenge for the community at large, is that was built as a community park, and it worked well for that. We have now turned into more of a athletic field, and it was just too small. So, I mean, it has value for the community, for, T-ball stuff, that kind of stuff. But when you really get into Little League, we were trying to satisfy the needs of having a park in an area, in the residential area, in a community where people can come and go to easily. There are other opportunities in other places, but it won't be in the community. I mean, there is up 65 near the jail. The county may end up getting that land back, where we were going to put a shooting range up there. But that's way out of the neighborhood. I mean, there isn't any land, in East Point, and you need 5 to 10 acres of land that is easily available and easy for the community. So that's the challenge. Do we make it easier on the parents to have their kids play at somewhat of a risk for fly balls, or do we make it inconvenient for everybody and have it in a much bigger area?
We got an issue here, don't we?
If we get extra land, it don't necessarily have to be back to back. Can they play?
Well, I mean,
Or
if
you
you're
gonna
gonna-
move both of them?
You have to move, my feeling is you have to move all the Little League fields. You want a complex that you can have the team play. You wouldn't want just one field at Broome Park, let's say, and 2 or 3 fields somewhere else. That's gonna make everybody mad, in my opinion.
We can talk to people and kind of explain the cost is prohibitive to net that space. That's what you're saying. And then even if you never.
I could get a price from somebody that researched a little bit, see what it would cost to net it.
Why don't we do that?
Okay.
Thank you.
It's gonna be expensive.
You got signs up temporary saying beware balls?
No, sir, we do not.
You might need to do that.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I see it, because we netted it out the other day. But I mean, we put it up there, I didn't think it was gonna stop all of it, we done what we could.
Right, that's right, yeah.
I was there last night, and there were a couple of fly balls that went from the older guys to the, to the other team.
that's gonna happen. We just got to get a solution and try to separate them.
Need some land, but it's not there.
It's just not in that area. I mean, yeah, but it's gonna be out.
You got way up 65.
Yeah, I mean, the closest I think is near the jail.
Well,
Everything else.
I just want to let you all know, on May 21st, MediaCom will be on St. George Island, set up to just educate the customers since they took over St. George Island Cable Company. And that'll run from 10 to 2 on May 21st. Also, we had another company want to come in on the 28th, 29th, and possible the 30th, to do beach giveaways. But they are possible, they want to do bonfires and on the beach and drive the little beach vehicles. So been talking with Commissioner Watson and Mr. Schuler here. So we just tossing that around right now to see, but I think the ordinance will not allow the bonfires nor the vehicles, the beach vehicles. So other than that, I don't see a problem with them if they just want to do some giveaways, beach items.
I'll get with Mr. Schuler and we can,
Yes, sir.
get back with him.
Okay. That's it.
All right, anybody else have anything for Fonda? All right, thank you, Fonda. Miss Pam's out today, you gonna,
She went to a meeting in Tallahassee, Commissioners, and so, but she had no action items, and I don't know if you have any questions for Pam you want me to forward to her.
anyone have any questions for Miss Pam? Mr. Eric Love Strand?
Good morning, Commissioners. Last board meeting, Commissioner Lockley asked about our anticipated move into the building that we're working on, and I got an updated schedule, anticipated schedule for that project early this week, so I'm going to just share that with you. They are looking at having the contracts in place during May and June, and anticipating beginning some of the demo work, taking out the old carpet, sheetrock that needs to come out, some of the HVAC system that's going to need to be replaced in there, and have that taken care of by the end of August. They're shooting for to last about 4 months probably, to be taking place between September and December, and hopefully go through their final punch list of things in early January and try to move into the facility by the end of January 2017. So that's our new estimated timetable, and we'll keep on plugging, trying to get things rolling on that. Haven't started anything yet, but the old DEP folks have moved things out of there. The building is vacant completely and ready for us to start working in there.
Anybody have any questions?
Any questions? All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Ann Birchwell, care of County Library.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Franklin County Public Library's Music as a Second Language program is coming along nicely. We have 12 adult piano students, 1 adult accordion, 2 vocal coaching students, 5 acoustic guitar students, 1 drum, a bass guitar, and electric guitar student. Recently, Mr. Beaumay of Carabel, he is also an instructor, offered the use of his art and music business Rio Carabel for our final performance, so we're excited about that. We've got the DaVinci Pro in, which is the grant I had received to get a low vision equipment at the library, and it has audible readback feature for people that have sight problems, possibly macular degeneration, just old age, and it magnifies print up to 77 times. So this is now available for patrons at the East Point branch. We are gearing up for our summer reading program, Get Ready, Set, Read. The St. George Island Civic Club had donated $2,000 towards this program, which we're really appreciative for. This weekend, FLACO gave us $250 for the same program, so we're very appreciative for community support. On Wednesday, May 25th, Les Harrison will be offering a workshop at the East Point branch, and he will answer identified questions posed by gardeners having specific problems in their gardens this year. That would be from 1:30 to 3 on Wednesday the 25th. And then finally, Annie Ball, who is a retired Franklin County Library Director and Grant Coordinator, will no longer have any programs at either branch of the library. Her grants have run out after almost 20 years. She and her staff will be missed, and we are planning a kind of a farewell party for her. And that's my report.
Anybody have anything for Miss Ann? All right, thank you, Miss
Thank you,
Ann.
sir.
Planning and zoning report.
Commissioners, if you remember at the last meeting, you tabled this item. It was a consideration of the request to construct a single-family private dock at 1529 Alligator Drive, Alligator Point. The issue, after had some issues, they thought they had some issues. They wanted to verify the location in this house. Alan said he's verified since then that they're okay with it now. So-
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And moving on to the Advisory Board of Adjustment report, there was a request to stabilize 145 linear feet of an eroding shoreline with riprap. The riprap will extend no further than 10 feet from the mean high water line and will be placed at a slope no steeper than, 2 HIV, whatever that means. The project location is 31 White Way, also known as Lot 9, New River Forest Subdivision. The request is being submitted by Florida Environmental and Land Services, Ms. Alva Peppers, agent for Cole M., and Mary E. Neal, the owners. The Advisory Board of Adjustment recommends this request for the retaining wall be approved as requested.
So moved.
Have a motion? Need a second?
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
And that's the end of BOA report.
Mr. Kurt Blair, TDC.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael. I sent you, you have in your packet on your desk a number of items. We really don't have any action items for you this month. I'll highlight a couple of things on the written report that I submitted to you. Our February tourism business this year was phenomenal. We knew it was going to be good. We could just tell from all the visits we had. We didn't anticipate that it was going to be up quite as much as it was. It was 51% higher than last year at the same period of time. I want to caution you, as I always do, that the month-to-month variations don't really say a lot. It's a lot more accurate to look at the quarterly reports, because there are reporting uniqueness by different lodging companies that make the month-to-months not as reliable. But in any event, we had a good month in February. All indications are that it's continuing to be strong. I think we'll see a good report at the end of the quarter. Our board approved the architectural fees for the bathrooms the other day, so I guess they're going to go out to bid today, or?
Yeah, it's in my report.
Okay, and, but they did that. I wanted to bring to your attention, we've learned something in the last year and a half with the East Point Visitor Center that we didn't know before we opened that facility, because most of the visitor centers were in population centers, and most of their business was walk-ups, people that are in town walking around, going by the chamber and that sort of thing. What we began to find with the East Point Center is that clearly half of all the people that came to the visitor center were people that were either traveling from Orlando to New Orleans or vice versa, and they were adding this trip on to something that they were doing elsewhere, like they're coming to Disney, spend a week at Disney, and then they'd be looking around for other things to do. So we've submitted a grant to Department of Economic Opportunity to give us the opportunity to designate a corridor from roughly Cedar Key to Apalachicola. We have two other counties that are participating with us on this, Dixie and Taylor counties, and the idea is that ultimately we would get a corridor designated along 98 would be the coastal, Florida's coastal corridor. We haven't named it, but it basically followed 98 from Levy County to Franklin County. So I just want to let you know that's in the works, and as soon as we hear something from DEO, we'll certainly let you know, but we're kind of.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is that like the corridor, the Big Bend, you see signs for?
Yes, it's very much like that. I mean, the product will be different, but it's, that corridor, the Big Bend Scenic Byway corridor, is, they have a little different purpose. It's a loop from Tallahassee back to Tallahassee, basically, and they put kiosks along the way. Ours is going to be directed at developing marketing materials, a map for each of the counties, for our marine culture, our small fishing village, to designate places to go and things to do. So that when people are making the decision to leave Orlando or Disney, or that's the big draw, of course, they'll consider coming this way and going through 98 and going through the counties that are participating.
I think it's a great program. Hopefully successful.
I've attached a list of the 25 nonprofit organizations that the board approved at their meeting the other day, and they also approved continuing our contracts with the 7 sustaining grants, and so you'll see those contracts here in the next couple of months. And finally, we have new displays at the East Point Visitor Center, and they were funded by Visit Florida. The idea with the change in the displays is to give a model that the other visitor centers can participate in, and presumably, if they want to, we can get standardization of the visitor centers, and we'll apply for funds for those as well. But we've got some new things there. If you haven't seen them, by all means, come by. One of the ones outdoors features the oyster industry and the history of the industry, and with some of the measures that are going into preserving it. And all in all, they're shaping out pretty well. So that's my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anything from Mr. Kirk? All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Mr. John Graham?
Morning, Commissioners. Before John gives the financial report, just wanted to give you an update on a couple of the things we discussed last meeting that you had asked for updates on. Unfortunately, at this time, I don't have an update from Mark O'Brien on what his availability is. I know last week he was traveling all over the state, so I just not have been able to get a hold of him. I'm still working on that. I will get you dates and probably email them to you as soon as I get them. A couple updates on the EMS vehicle that was involved in an accident, and perhaps Michael's going to discuss this in his report, I don't know, but as of this morning, the Department of Transportation did release our wrecked vehicle back to the county, and as I understand it, Aaron is prepared to turn the title over to the insurance company, which should allow us to process the claim pretty quickly. The replacement vehicle, with your all's approval, was ordered a week and a half ago, so it'll be due in November. From the information I have to date, that new vehicle, just the truck, not what goes inside the back of the truck, but just the truck, had an invoice of $166,000, and from the information I have available to me as of this morning, the insurance company has approved $126,000 as a liability on the wrecked vehicle, leaving a net of $40,000 just for the ambulance that we'll have to come up with. They have not settled on all the equipment that was damaged in the back of the truck, the stretcher, the BP apparatus, a couple other small things that are clinical in nature and I'm not familiar with. But the stretcher itself could be repaired for $100, but the problem is the manufacturer has now, since it's been wrecked in a wrecked vehicle, they will no longer deal with it. As a matter of fact, they've sent us a letter that if it fails, if we're using it and it fails, it's all on us. They're not accepting any of the liability. They want it taken out of service permanently. So that's where we are with the EMS vehicle. I did want to let you know that Jared did have conversation with the patients that was in the back of the ambulance, had conversations with their family. Very appreciative of the care that we were able to provide even after the ambulance, where our paramedic, dazed as he was, picked the patient up by himself and got her out of harm's way and delivered her to the new ambulance to take her on to Bay. They were very appreciative of our staff. And I don't have any update on her progress. You know, as HIPAA goes, we're not really privy to that at this point. As far as our staff is back to work. We had the paramedic that was in the back had no time lost. The EMT that was driving, she missed, I think, 3 shifts. She was sore, but it was more emotional. I mean, she was the one that saw that semi coming directly at her, so she took a couple extra days to just get her mind right, but she is back to work now and everybody seems to be fine. So that's where we're at with EMS.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
This may be directed to Mr. Schuler instead. We have some action against the company that caused the accident, do we not, to assist us in the replacement?
Yes, sir. Your insurance adjuster, Tara Bonilla, is handling that for us. I have been in communication both with her and also with the attorney for the trucking company, whose office has contacted me a couple of times. But I'm being more of I guess, a switchboard to keep our adjuster in touch with their attorney and keep the process moving forward. But yes, there is a claim that's being processed.
Okay. And the delivery of, I guess this is for Mr. Cooper, the delivery of the new ambulance would be when, and you've been given a date?
The replacement for the one that was just wrecked won't be until November. The one that we had already had in process will be here next month. Six, one half dozen the other, they'll be pretty much the same ambulance.
Okay, thank you.
The last thing I wanted to just update you on is the work of Culpeper and Adams Group on the first run-through of the guaranteed maximum price. Adams and Culpeper worked really closely together on this first run-through. Where we're at in our current design process, we're right on budget. On a $10.2 million project, we're within $100,000 of that price, and that includes a $500,000 contingency fee. So we're right on target. The actual square footage number is 279 a square, and the budget had for 275. So I'd say we're within, just math off the top of my head, we're within about 1% of where we said we should be at. So, as Nick, and I do have Nick from Adams with me in case there were any technical questions that are beyond my scope, if anybody has any of those. But Nick mentioned to me that, the further along the design process you get, the more sharp the pencils can be because they know exactly what they're talking about. You start putting finer lines on the designs, you can put finer lines on what it's going to cost. So right now, we're feeling pretty good about it. So.
Question?
Yes, sir.
You said within $100,000, that's up higher or lower?
It's $126,000 higher than the $10,250,000 at this point. But that also includes a $500 and some thousand contingency program. So
Can't get it down to what we see.
Just to clarify that, so what that means is if we wanted to go ahead and use part of the contingency, which we were holding the same contingency of what we had originally, and just because we didn't really want to eat into that. So, but if we wanted to go ahead and take that $126,000 out of contingency, then we're right on budget, and we still have $450,000 of contingency. So, I guess all we're saying is we didn't dig into contingency yet, just because at this stage in the game, the percentage is right where we would expect it to be, a tad bit high, just because we're at schematic budget. And everybody wants to make sure they're covered at this point. So it actually came in very, very good. So like I said, if you wanted to, we can already cover every cost. We just haven't dug into the contingency yet. So we still, if you wanted to be right on the 10.2, you still have $450,000 of contingency within that 10.2. Does that make sense?